Welcome to The Final Edit, a podcast brought to you by Maison, a private network for 7 to 9 figure female founders where women redefine success, legacy, and influence.
We're your hosts, Maritza Toban and Hannah Nieves. We're co-founders, mothers, and builders behind a billion-dollar vision.
These conversations are with leading founders who are shaping the industry and the future as they build it.
Welcome to The Final Edit. Welcome to another episode of The Final Edit. Today we are talking about all of the hard things, the challenging things of building a private network. This episode is going to be especially relevant for you if you're a community builder, if you're someone that runs membership programs or curates intimate environments in any way, shape, or form. You're going to really love this one. So let's dive in.
It's so interesting because I feel like everyone wants community, but not everyone understands what it means to actually hold one. And if you're listening in, Maison is a high caliber network for 7 to 9 figure female founders. And for us, having a high quality, high touch network means that we are curating intimacy, we're curating environments, we're curating depth, and that is a natural evolution. And so if you are looking to build a network, container, or a space that reflects that, this is definitely going to be the space for you. And I feel like we've learned a lot of hard things launching Maison, growing Maison in just the first year alone. Like I think you mentioned in a few episodes ago that we had learned some lessons the first year that I think for some people it takes some years to actually go through. And I want to uncover those today.
I love that for us. Yeah, so let's start with the curation of Maison. And, one thing that we are seeing as community builders and, the way that we're also framing our role in this, it's, we're architecting something. For us, that's influence. For us, that's like community. It's deep connection. Like that is, that word embodies a lot of what Maison represents. And when you're building in that way, with a curation mindset, you're not necessarily building at scale, like you're not growing your network numbers for the masses. You're more like quality becomes way more valuable than quantity because you're spending more one-to-one time truly getting to know that member. And maybe your metrics that you're looking at is lifetime value, right? So having, a longer relationship with one member, you're measuring things like retention, overgrowth metrics. Yeah. And that's a thing that, as beautiful as it is also very challenging because it makes you have to explore other ways to monetize and bring in revenue so that it aligns, with growing your community.
And I also feel like depth, you need that to grow community. And this also goes to like, even if you don't have like a membership or a community like Maison, like you can still take these principles. And when it comes to building depth, like a lot of people are focused on just like volume, like you said, and growth and just like meeting numbers, but also like that's not going to last long term. You're always going to have retention or lower retention, higher turnover. And when you can really curate the best clients, the best members, right? Like that's when you have that customer lifetime value, which I think is so powerful. But also a lot of people are not doing that either. We're just focusing on meeting these numbers. But what I will say is the biggest piece of feedback that we have had from our community has been that. But also that comes with challenges, right? Because then we have to filter people. And, I think in the beginning when we were putting these like measures in place, I remember talking to you and be like, oh my God, is this too much? Like, are we filtering too much? But I actually am so grateful that we've set up these, processes. And so for, if you're listening in, we obviously go through income verification and reference checks and things like that. But we also get on every single call with every single member because we want to know also that their heart is in the right place and that they also embody the values of our community. And I think the same thing goes for customers, clients, whether you have a community or not, like having some type of filtration system will just also get you a better result.
Right. Yeah. And all of those things just lead to it being really high touch, but also high pressure, because you've now created also for yourself, a level, like a standard that you need to meet. And the focus becomes more on the transformational experiences that you want your community to feel and to be a part of, over just the logistics of creating a community, right? Where I think a lot of what we see is, okay, yeah, well, you need a platform to host a community, and then you should have content, and then I need to prepare myself to like reply to comments, and versus the proactive approach to like having a nurturing plan for your community, membership, network, whatever it is, when you're leading from a place of seeking transformation, seeking impact, and things like that.
And that's also hard, because I think people ask us, it's probably one of the most like common questions, like, have you had to turn people away? And we haven't had to turn many people away. So I will say that, thank God. But it's really interesting when you see and you can hear conversations of people of where people's intentions really lie. And I think as someone, for both of us, we get on every single call with our community members, and we're able to filter out, okay, like who really wants to be an engaged community member, bring value to a community, but is not just like what's in it for me. And that can be hard, especially if you're building any type of community, to be like, okay, no, we're not gonna let that in. That's revenue that you're turning away. But I think in the long term, like that's what's really going to pay off. And I think that's also probably one of the harder things about building a private network on this magnitude. And the biggest piece of feedback that we have from our members too is that they're in a lot of other networks, they're in a lot of communities, and they're like, this is the thing. This is the thing of why I love it, why I stay. And that's really freaking hard.
Yeah. And I think to that point too, you have to have like the discernment as well to be okay with turning people away, and if your goals are these things, right? Like nurturing your community, creating transformational experiences, you want high engagement, like you want members that are contributing in the community, all these markers, right? Then even if someone checks off all the boxes, however, they're like, I don't have a lot of time, so I'm just more interested in like this type of content, or I'm actually taking like a pause, in life. So I'm not like super sure about what I'm looking for. I think that, that could also signal, okay, maybe they're not ready to contribute to the community. And so we straight up ask everyone that we interview with for Maison is like, do you want to be in community? Do you feel like you want the like voice and opinions of others? Like, do you see yourself engaging and being a part of that environment? And that just being straightforward with people about what they can also expect on the inside of Maison, I think has helped tremendously to attract, more aligned souls that are looking for the things that we're putting out.
And to that note too, when it comes to like the hard parts of building a network, like the energy, being able to sustain energy at this scale is probably one of the bigger challenges. And it's something I think we always are looking to, like, how can we make every member feel like they're the only one, right? And that we are giving that like, undivided attention. But I think there's ways and systems that we've been setting up, which are so powerful between Sophie, between you, between me, the team, et cetera. And all these checks and balances, which I think is really powerful, but will also like pay off in the long run. And, I always go back to like delivering the 4 seasons experience, like in this type of environment, and leveraging technology. And I think that's like one of the biggest things is like, we are here architecting influence and connection through technology and innovation. And so, with what we're doing with Maison, like we are leveraging the technology that we've built to also like mitigate some of that energy, like dilution that we have as we grow, right? Like the software is now also being able to like connect our members.
Yeah. And again, it's like that balance of the human connection, but also technology, to your point in other episodes, right? Where it's like we tend to swing the pendulum, in one direction, where it could just be in the middle, right? And you could just figure out how technology fits into your overall
Yeah.
strategy for your membership and community or network, and leverage that to support what your community ultimately needs, to feel seen, to feel supported, and to feel valued. So with that, I hope that you take away from this just the mindset shift of, I'm a community manager and I just need to have these checks and balances in place to whatever you're architecting for your group.
I love that. Well, thank you for being here, and we'll see you on the next episode.